What did I forget this time? Please don't beep at me, phone. How's that? Wow, 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 wow. That looks good. Hey! It's me! Excuse me. It's Saturday! I'm wondering if the, how's it? It might be a bit loud, actually. Let's just turn these down a little bit, shall we? I'll just turn them all down. Just so y'all can hear me. At the very least. I'll keep those. Game text and voice, that's fine. Yeah, that's all fine. Key, config, reader mode. Yeah, fair enough. Right, it says... That's all fine and good. But hey! It says Attorney Investigations. I cannot wait. I've been hoping for a re-release or like a remake of these for ages. And I'm so happy. Alright, let's... Oh, look at this. Let's just get into it, eh? Yes, I would like to play with the new HD sprites. Turnabout Visitor. I would like to start from this episode, yeah. I may need to actually, hold on. Ew. Episode 1, Turnabout Visitor. March 14th, 1:16 AM. Mystery place. To make sure the defendant is found guilty. What other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. That may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. But a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. Who did this? March 14th, 2:05 AM. Prosecutor's Building, 12th floor hallway. Sorry, I am gonna be reading out these in voice actor form. I'll do my best, Edgeworth. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office. And keeping it clean. The door's unlocked. Oh no, the neighbor's dog's going off. Please. Why? I love that the music just stopped Right as the dog started barking outside. Incredible. What the hell's going on? What time is it? It can't be the end of my sister's shift already. Anyway, let's go in. Detective Gumshoe? What's the smell? It's very familiar. Blood. He's found me. What the? Ah! What's the meaning of this? Ding. Oh, freeze. Oh, who's this? Identify yourself. Shut up. You've got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Ah! Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return home after a month abroad, I would be thrust into a multitude of cases, and some very frantic and busy days. Sorry, I know it says thrusted, but we don't usually put ED on the end of the word thrust. It's just usually thrust. Kind of like the word cut. You don't cutted something. Anyway, it's March 14th, 2:56 a.m. in the High Prosecutor's offices, room 1202. I finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Look at these guys. Look at this office. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Are you okay, sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. Gumshoe! When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. This is Dick Gumshoe. He is a detective with the local precinct. And the one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However... Ah! Look what they did to your office. It's totally trashed. I'll say. The culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. Whoa. Sounds like you're getting really burned up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve it. Haha. That's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook... What? I messed that one up. Let me try again. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that pique my curiosity... Why, of all places, did the murder occur in my office? Oh. A clue. I get the nagging feeling that this is something important to keep in mind. Yeah, I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office.
For security reasons, this office's door has a lock built into it.
I should hope so. What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic?
Oh my goodness.
I need to recalibrate my dear model again. Looks like it's not sitting right. It's not moving right, I should say.
There we go. That's better. Logic?
By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. This is called thinking. That is the end result of using logic. This is called thinking. So, how do you use it? How do you think, sir? First, I recall the information we've gathered with buttons, and then I connect them together with other buttons. Sorry, I am using a controller and my mouse at the same time, just because it's easier for me. Now, to recall the facts.
Now, I remember how the logic puzzles worked in the DS version. You had a bunch of loose jigsaw pieces with the names of the things on them, and you had to put them together, basically. Is it really coincidence that the murder took place in my office? And then you connect them. If you get it wrong, you get hurt. You strain your brain thinking the wrong way. I got a trophy for thinking. Sorry, I clicked on something. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it is impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. If I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Well, let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir! I'm gonna take a sippy.
The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. I know that. And when I want to examine something, I simply press a button when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just use the Y button, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose.
Let's have cookie.
Ouch! They even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up ready for when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess.
I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. Oh, those are not the same games.
In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve this case. Though I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much.
We have a gun!
What have we here? Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here.
I think I've seen one of these before. Uh-huh.
Care to enlighten me as to where?
Oh, in my holster. I know. I was issued the exact same model. I think.
Detective, I don't really like guns all that much.
I mean, they're really dangerous. Oh, yep. I mean, they are, yes. Oops, sorry. Adjusting my camera. But now that I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. I don't use mine much, except in emergencies. So that's why I didn't recognize it.
So, it's the same type of revolver as the ones used by this precinct's detectives.
That's the logic bit. Hello, mister.
Do you have anything to report?
Sir, yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. And yet, there is something out of the ordinary right in front of my eyes.
Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, I should look around a bit more.
Couch.
I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa.
That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Oh, Gumshoe. No. Could I sit on it too? Just for a little while, sir?
Detective Gumshoe, you know I can't allow that.
You shed far too much.
Until this case is solved, neither of us has time to spare, let alone rest.
You're right, sir. I'm gonna work hard and be a real trooper to the end.
Even once this case is over, I don't think he can afford to take any time off. How's it coming along?
Please, I need absolute silence. Fingerprint lifting is a delicate art.
Well, I never.
Yee. Oh, it's your trophy. The, Knight of Prosecutors, right?
King of Prosecutors. And it's not a trophy, it's a shield.
They only send this to the winning prosecutors, right?
Yes, but I have no real interest in the perceived worth of other people. As for my own worth, that is something only I can determine for myself.
That's so slick, sir. I'm gonna have to try saying that sometime.
Unfortunately for him, his monetary worth is tied directly to his worth to me.
Ooh. Sharp like a knife. Watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir.
That killer is going to pay.
This tea set. Yikes. You're really mad over this.
This tea set is very dear to my heart and can only be bought in England. It cost more than your whole month's paycheck.
What? Look at him. Like he's seen a mouse. Now I feel like the killer's wasted one of my monthly paychecks.
It's been a while since I've sat at this desk. Oh, how I've missed you. It's so tidy that it looks newer than when I first bought it.
Oh yeah, that thing's so polished it makes mirrors jealous.
Don't tell me you had no other work the entire time I was away, Detective. Well, my job is to protect your office, sir. And you did such a good job protecting it that a murder occurred in it. That's harsh, sir. I have to admit, the desk has never looked better, so I guess I can't dock his pay.
I thought I saw a thing. I don't think I can investigate it yet, actually. I need to investigate the rest of this. All this stuff.
Your files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, and I tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day just like you requested, sir. I just added cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he have a life?
Oh, we both know the answer to that one, Edgy.
They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Alright, let's have a lookie.
What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, hey! I have the exact same thing, actually. What a coinkydink! Let's take a look inside. Mr. Buddy Faith,
Rank detective. Police department.
It would appear that our victim was a detective just like you.
Excuse me.
I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out if any of them is connected to each other.
Well, before that,
Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdominal area. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir.
What, like, through his side? Because you know there's a spine in the way, usually. There's also the rib cage.
In other words, he was shot.
Yep.
And until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll know much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene.
Crime scene notes. The body was found at around 2:05 a.m.
Jotted down in my organizer. Are you gonna be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all.
Alright, if you say so.
I keep all the evidence I find either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine a piece, I have but to press a button to open my organizer. But the organizer is just for evidence. I keep people's profiles on hand in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often.
With the books.
I don't believe it. I packed those files on those shelves so tight that not even an earthquake could make them fall off. But just look at them. At this rate, the rest of the files won't be able to withstand an earthquake at all. A problem, to be sure. Well, once the investigation is over, we'll put them back up on the shelf.
Anything else? I think that's everything here. Unless... Oh, wait. No?
proof of my profession. However, I prefer to keep it in my pocket.
Alright, let's have a look at our facts. Let's see. I want to say that... What are the odds that the revolver was Buddy's or Mr. Faith's? Let's try it.
The revolver, the standard model used by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body one more time? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. This guy's wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him.
Can be assumed to be the murder weapon issued to the victim.
Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. As I always say, you have to look really...
Oh, whoops. That was Gumshoe. As I always say, you gotta look real carefully at each piece of evidence. Rotate an object, and there's no such thing as a bad angle. Zoom in and out to get the nitty-gritty. Hey, look, a little horse. But that's not pertinent.
To think that it's so easy to take a life with just the pull of a trigger.
You know, I can't ever see myself really liking guns. Oh, but I love the ones they use at track and field meets to start races. Good for you, Gumshoe. I've always hated those ones. If you take off before it's fired, everybody always ends up following your lead.
To chase you down for a false start, detective.
Oh, now that you mention it, even when I finish first, I always wind up in last place. Incredible. Let's have a look. Bullets.
It looks like only one round was fired from this. Wow. So the killer killed the Vic with just one shot after wresting the gun from him? Sounds like the guy knew how to handle a gun, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? We have no proof for now, but that is a distinct possibility. I guess this is about all we're going to find out. We should send the body to our... Jim!
Who's Jim? Who's this?
Why, oh why? How could this have happened to a guy like you? Sorry, the words are obscured for me. I was about to say, how could this have happened to a guy named Jim? Are you alright?
Aw, put his hand on the shoulder.
Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Just let me be. Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still ongoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body? The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a blood-stained suit, pal. Ah, where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes I am. I'm Jock Portsman, prosecutor. Sorry, I need a minute. I just need you all to know something. Every time I see this guy... Well, actually, even the first time I played this game, when I first saw this guy, one of my very first thoughts about him was, this looks like a guy that would be voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. And I don't know why. It just occurs to me. It
just does. Jim here was my partner in crime busting.
I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir.
So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office?
Yes, that is correct.
Then it was you! You're the one who killed Jim! No, we're not. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? Yeah. I will not! I know how things work around here! Actually... Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone. Just give me a minute, hopefully. I have quite the compact, desk space set up. High prosecutor's office doors all have locks built into them. And only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. Just ignore it.
That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner.
Yeah. Mr. Edgeworth has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Oh dear. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it was you then? You're Jim's killer. No way, pal. You got it all wrong.
Everyone calm down. Mr. Portsman, correct? If you are a real prosecutor, you should know how to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions?
Not too early for some people, I know. All right, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I do tend to get a little hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer, though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know. Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now how about a handshake to seal the deal?
A pleasure to work with you.
You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on then. It's your room, after all.
Thank you. I intend to.
I just want a little more time to say goodbye to Jim. You there. Sir? I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner Jim. I want you to put it on TikTok, Instagram, all the socials. Facebook even, I don't care.
I should probably give them some space.
Actually, I'm gonna take a moment because I need to adjust my mic again. Let's have it actually closer to me. Because I noticed the microphone tracking wasn't procking so well. It might have been the distance. Alright. Just adjusting my chair. Hopefully. Hey, we can look at the bully hole now. Ah! Your jacket, sir! What's it doing on the floor?
They must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing a round.
So the killer not only shot the victim, but they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra-special jacket that you made your prosecutorial debut in? That's a long word. What if they'd shot through it? It would have been a disaster. There's not a seamstress within 5 miles. Open at 3 a.m.
It's not worth getting worked up over, Detective. Not when there's something more here.
Huh? Like what?
I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective? There's a giant contradiction right here in front of us.
Really?
Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him.
Ah, Edgy. You don't have to be so coy.
But I have my own methods, and I will conduct this investigation my way.
My way.
When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence, or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play.
I was about to say detective.
First, I have to find the spot that holds the contradiction. This is it. This bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point my cursor at it and press the button with conviction.
Boink.
And when I have found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present it. This is how I do things.
Well, what do we have? A gun with only 1 shot fired. Isn't that curious?
Eureka! Eureka! This bullet hole is the contradiction. What do you mean, sir? It's elementary, Watson. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim, and the second felled this frame.
Hey, that's right.
However, this gun was only fired once.
Hey, that's true too.
Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight?
Could there be another gun in play here?
By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes?
What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame?
Ah, that. It's a secret safe.
A secret safe? Oh, I smell money.
I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now, if you would kindly move this frame out of the way.
Would you kindly? Roger that.
Achoo! Achoo! Oh, talk about dusty. I suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while.
I had no idea there was a safe here, or I'd have kept it clean for you, sir. So when did you put this thing in?
It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one.
Really? I had no idea. You're not supposed to, Gumshoe.
Well, only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence.
So, what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth?
Right now, nothing. We only use them to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session.
That's it?
Oh, talk about squashing my hopes and dreams.
Just gonna take a sip. Edgeworth is gonna say this every time there's an investigation needing to be done.
Now this is odd. You found something, sir? This keypad. Don't you find it to be a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, forensic scientist.
Yes, sir?
Could you please dust this area for fingerprints?
You got it, sir.
I found prints!
No, Dot. Fingerprints. I don't think so. I couldn't find, let alone lift a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. Secret safe data updated in the organizer. Prints have been wiped.
As I thought. It appears that critical thought is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly play connect the dots with the information we have.
Alrighty. Let's do it. There are definitely wiped fingerprints. Could it be related to the killer's goal?
I believe I have figured out what the murderer was after. Well, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind this break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime.
Okay. Well, we have a motive for theft. And we have files strewn about the place. So they were definitely searching for something. They weren't being very careful about it.
There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between victim and killer. Oh? You mean, like, it could be from when the killer was trying to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir, I'm gonna shelve files like you've never seen before, even at a library. Sure, let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life.
Tell that to the Faye family.
All we can do is search for the truth. And so what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? First, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it.
Here, let me help.
So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite it being Mr. Edgeworth's office. Because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal, okay? Done!
Oh, plane going over. Sorry.
It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. The bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. I suspect that the victim was killed in a standing position, hence the prints on the shelf. And then the guy fell onto the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kinda grossing me out. Detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. The victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands here after being shot. There were prints on the floor, too. Those must have been made when, unable to stay standing, he drops to the floor. I put them all back just as they should be, sir. Doesn't look like anything's missing. Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files were ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. Oh, so that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. Yes. That would be the logical conclusion. You're very good at this thinking thing, Detective. You should do it more often. The killer moved the body because it was leaning against the bookshelf. Blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See, I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edgeworth. Well. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? I'm pretty sure it's this. Eureka! Eureka! Sorry, just 1 minute. There is clearly a contradiction here with this bullet hole. What do you mean, sir? You don't see? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or lying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leant against this shelf here after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. Then that means... Wait, what does that mean, sir? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, Detective. What did I say? In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption. And it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What is the faulty assumption that caused this problem with the bullet hole? The bullet hole's position. Position body, position of handprints. Well, it can only be the order of the files, because otherwise, nothing else makes sense. I believe the order of the files is a bit off. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey! Actually, I think the labels on the files are wrong, sir. Oh? Yeah. You see here how the files that were shot begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down there after 1, 2, and 3? That's really weird. Actually, the way they are organized now is the correct order. They are exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. But the numbers are all out of order.
Haven't you done the thing where you order your books by color, Detective?
Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha! So that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, Detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out.
Do you think it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved?
They finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why it wouldn't be. If you please, Detective Gumshoe. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in numerical order, I guess. Exactly. And then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice. Once before and once after the crime. But why? Now the crime scene is as it was at the time of the murder. Time to give it another look. There must be some reason as to why the victim's body was moved. But there is no time to ponder that now. Let us continue with our investigation, Detective.
Roger that, sir. I'm ready to go.
Sorry, I had to yawn.
These handprints belong to the victim, right? They make sense with the body position. Yes. He must have left them when he was trying to support himself after he was shot. However, the final position of the body shows that it was moved. I need to go over this crime scene with a fine-toothed comb one more time. As I suspected, the bullet hole is now where it should logically be. And we figured out the killer went through your bookshelf twice. Indeed. There are many things the killer did that don't make sense. But to figure out the whys, we need more information.
What's this?
Excuse me.
This.
What is that? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What? That's ridiculous. It says Gum Her. Gumshoe can't read.
I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence. Yes. Indicative of criminal activity, indeed.
No, wait. There's gotta be some mistake.
Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me! Say something, sir! It appears that one of my files was stolen.
Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation?
Is this what the killer was really after?
Oh, excuse me.
Stolen file data.
Investigation complete!
Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And this most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear that your beloved partner is the guilty party. If you are going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words. They're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning.
You got it.
I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some sort of flaw to his logic waiting for me to dig out.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you gonna do?
What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique.
Whoa. How do you do that? Could you explain it to me, sir? Ah. Give me a moment. I'm gonna take another sip.
Oh. Might as well. All right.
This is just for the people who have never seen Ace Attorney before.
First, I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer and present the piece of contradictory evidence. To present something, I simply use the button. But that's old news. But it's not like there's gonna be a flaw in their testimony every time, right? Correct. And at those times, I need to press the witness with a button. Sometimes by pressing, I can draw out new information and new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations, too. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now, watch carefully.
Mr. Portsman's logic. Have I got my microphone facing the right way, even? Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. That's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. The bloody letters. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice.
You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer? I can hear Jim's voice, and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? There is no way Detective Gumshoe is the culprit here. I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence.
Time to rebut. Alright, we don't really know that much about the case. Well, let's have him explain a few things for us.
Hold it! Hold it! You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask.
What is it?
Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith?
Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jock and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly?
But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name.
Well, Jock and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys that I decided to nickname Jim. Jim and the Jims.
He talks about the victim like he was his pet.
Fun fact, I actually did have a pet named Buddy. He was a cockatiel. We found him, no. A neighbor found him just not long after a cyclone had hit, and we took him in, basically. Anyway, let's press on this statement.
Hold it!
Do you really think it was necessary to dishevel my shelves twice to do that?
Well, that's true. Okay, then maybe his real intent was theft.
Hey, are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth?
It's a possibility.
Maybe your salary's been cut so much that life is getting a little too rough to handle? I'll have you know that I eat 3 square meals every day, pal.
Lunchable trays don't count.
Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but they are square-shaped when you pull them out of the package. Usually. Oh, poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you were paired up with. And what a motive, no? That's when you move the body. Sorry. Because I have a weird thing about, like, language and, like, grammar and stuff. I keep thinking myself, like, Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf just doesn't make sense to me. I would have written Jim's body, which was sitting in front of the bookshelf. Just, don't mind me there.
Hold
It's
it!
gonna happen. And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing?
Because the body was getting in his way.
He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right?
Anyway. Okay, that meant nothing. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters the body was hiding.
Hold it!
Why do you think that the killer didn't notice the bloody letters?
Well, the body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. Who do you think you are? I am. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone.
I can't say I disagree with him on that point. Why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth! Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe the detective to be the culprit. Nobody could have overlooked those bloody letters, and I can prove it with evidence. I couldn't ask for a better setup. For the game-finishing spike.
That's a volleyball reference. Alright. We know what we're doing. I think. I believe this is right.
Objection!
I got an achievement for that.
My first objection in the game.
Objection! Perhaps you are not aware, Mr. Portsman, but there is a serious flaw in your logic.
Huh?
Bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see.
No problem. I'm game.
I can't help but find it odd.
Excuse me?
Odd that a fellow prosecutor would be brought down by the power of his own office.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you're joking, I get it. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file?
What? That's impossible!
What's impossible, Mr. Portsman?
Nothing.
The files on that shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
Objection! It's possible that they could have taken the file before they committed the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name where the file should be is proof. Yeah! I mean, the S is gone and there's only half an H. So it just says Gumho. If Detective Gumshoe really was the detective of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his own name written in blood on the files. Especially as a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. That face. Which means... what exactly? What does that make the dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low! I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir, you'll see. I'm gonna have him under arrest in no time. Well, Mr. Portsman. Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of an Olympic gold. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. You win some and you lose some. That's how life goes. Like golf. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up. However... What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edgeworth just proved that I'm innocent, pal. Please don't do that, sir. That's absolutely right. And I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? I don't like it when he does that. Well, I was thinking. Did you know there is one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there.
Yes, sir. What is it, sir?
God damn it, I've never even played Bioshock. Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? The girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't! What's wrong with him all of a sudden?
Who is it?
I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bird, a member of security.
Maggie! Detective Gumshoe, sir.
Maggie! Miss Bird is the security guard on watch tonight. I see. And your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it... And by it, I mean the master key, which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bird.
How dare you! I would never sneak into someone's room.
That's right. I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me.
That's right, I did it.
Uh-oh. Can we take that as a confession, Detective?
Oh, well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics.
Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime. And for one simple reason. Sir, please, stop flashing me. God. Reason for suspicion. It's pretty obvious that Miss Bird snuck into your room using the master key. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more profitable? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. Excuse me.
So you're saying she used the master key?
What? Use controlled by security staff. Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say?
That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well.
That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time, especially for an athlete like me.
I wonder if there was anyone else other than Miss Bird who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him.
I'm gonna press him so good. Like a steam iron. And why is it obvious, Mr. Portsman?
Hold it!
Hold it! Are you sure Miss Bird is the only member of security who could have used the master key?
There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir.
Wasn't able to? What's that supposed to mean?
Yes, moving on. I'd hate to get sidetracked by something unrelated. Oh, I love getting sidetracked by things that are unrelated. Gimme! What do you mean unrelated? I want to hear what she has to say, pal. But you can't really trust her not to tell lies. Plus, I hate wasting time. Oh, I love wasting time. Let me do it.
Should I hear Miss Bird out?
Yes.
Not so fast. I too am interested in hearing what Miss Bird has to say.
Haha. 3 against 1, pal. Didn't I just say it'd be a waste of time? We don't need to hear her lies.
I'll be the judge of that. Miss Bird, if you please.
I discovered that the master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir.
What do you mean by missing?
As in, it wasn't anywhere in the security booth, sir. The killer must have stolen it. The killer must have stolen it.
Mr. Portsman, I believe this to be an important piece of testimony, don't you?
I can't believe that someone like you would be taken in by such words.
I'm not lying, sir.
Objection!
What do you want? If that's the case, then I'd like to know why you have the master key now.
I don't quite know. It just reappeared all of a sudden, sir.
A likely story. And where is your proof that the key was stolen to begin with? I bet you just forgot where you put it and then found it again.
I never lose things. I can practically guarantee that. With me, if something disappears, it's usually because someone stole it.
Yeah, pal, trust me.
You don't want to test just how bad her luck is. Unfortunately, I can't deem this piece of testimony as conclusive. Glad you agree, Mr. Edgeworth. But... You still haven't established Maggie's motive for breaking into Mr. Edgeworth's office. Her motive? Didn't we already establish that it was theft? I mean, the culprit clearly went through the bookshelves and at least tried the safe. Yeah, we know it's a motive. But why are you trying to make it like it's her motive? It is as Mr. Portsman says, Detective. I can't ignore the fact that all the evidence points towards a motive of theft.
See, we're on the same page.
But I'm done taking blows. It's time to counterattack with a few facts of my own.
Alright. Her intent? I'd say thievery.
Hold it!
I concur that the culprit's motive appears to have been thievery. However... Oh, glad to hear that the great Miles Edgeworth is in agreement with little old me. However, with regards to the investigation of the bookshelves and safe... Hey, good thinking, asking for my opinion on the matter. Would it be too much for you to allow me to complete a full sentence?
Oh, that was actually pointless. If Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect.
Hold it!
I thought we had established Detective Gumshoe's innocence pretty thoroughly.
It was just a theory, one hypothesis among the many possibilities.
I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird.
Excuse me, I messed that one up.
I mean, I had my doubts about Miss Bird from the very beginning. If that's the case, then why didn't you mention her first?
Now, don't make that face. See, there goes the truth running the other way. Let's pick up the pace and see if we can't catch up to it.
I don't think you're catching my drift. But we are in agreement that the detective isn't the killer, right?
If so, then I hope you'll understand when I say that since she's the only one who could have opened your office door.
Oh god, I just realized something about his sprite. I really don't want to call attention to it, but
that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect.
Next time he does it, I'm just gonna say it.
Hold it!
And then I'm just gonna leave it there. Don't you think it's a bit early to be jumping to conclusions? Are you saying there's another way to open the door other than with the master key?
Yeah, if you look at the edge of Portsman's chest, I think you can see his nipple poking.
Through his shirt. Look at it.
You can see it.
I can't be the only one.
Oh, I get it. Perhaps you had a spare made for someone else?
I'll have you know I've never made a spare. So what are you insinuating?
Nothing. Guess I should have known better than to suggest that someone like you would.
On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she?
Hold it!
Is there anyone in this district who hasn't at least heard of Detective Gumshoe? Or at least the stories about him?
Good point. He's practically a celebrity among us prosecutors.
Really? I never knew I was so talked about, sir.
Well, they say even a bad reputation is a reputation nonetheless.
We're holding our collective breath, you know. For when you screw up so badly that you're literally chased off the force.
He was fine in one game.
Wait, what? Is that true, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course not. That's hogwash. Huh. Don't scare me like that. I almost had a heart attack there.
Why would she'd fake a dying message?
Hold it!
She likes Gumshoe.
By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe.
I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing his name is proof enough that the two knew each other well. Not always. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence.
I would love to. But first, we should listen a bit more and digest what he's saying. And press him for more information.
I'm gonna look at the evidence and see what we've got. Let's see. Written in blood. Can open every... Oh, I can look at this.
It's the master key to every office in the building.
Anything? No? Yep. Oh! I can look at the badge!
This badge's design is said to reflect the relentlessness and discipline of law enforcement. It comes from the authority vested in us as strict protectors of the law and executors of sentences. Executors of sentences, much like harsh winter frosts and blazing summer days. To wear it is to identify oneself as a prosecutor, but I have no interest in doing so.
Huh? Oh, that's interesting.
Each prosecutor's badge is engraved with the number of its owner on the back. Numbers. As if we're not human on the inside like everyone else.
Oh, I never saw that before. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Just trying to think now. The master key was the master key was open. Yeah. Good words. I'm good at words. So good at words. The master key was stolen around 1 a.m., which was about when the crime occurred, or just a little bit before. If Detective Gumshoe wasn't the one who opened the door, then that leaves only Miss Bird as our prime suspect. If I go beyond this, they'll give me a little hint, I think. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and present some evidence. Ah, okay. Hold on, do I need to press this one?
Hold it!
Again, and then... There's only one person on staff at this time of night, and tonight she's it. Isn't that right, Miss Bird? That's true, but I wasn't able to use the master key at the time of the crime, sir.
Wasn't able to.
The master key was missing at around 1 a.m., sir. Wasn't anywhere in the security booth. The killer must have stolen it.
Objection!
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Hold on. I just realized something. Do-do-do-do-do. Besides, Maggie doesn't have any reason to want to sneak into Mr. Edgeworth's office. We already established it was theft. The culprit clearly went through the bookshelves. At least tried the safe.
I'm done taking orders. It's time to counterattack with a few
I'm trying to remember. Am I meant to? Cause hold on. Sorry. Just put that on. Just so it's a bit easy for me. Just a little bit easier. Just for some reason. Except... do I present here? Maybe. I'm gonna try it. Wait. How was he killed in my office? Wait, whoops. Yeah, right. I think, yeah, no, I think I've got the logic here. If she was going to, if it was Maggie who was going to do a theft and blame it on Gumshoe, she would not have written Gumshoe's name on the very shelf of files that she was stealing from, right?
Objection!
No!
I must object to your line of logic. And which part do you have an objection to? It's... yes, well. Stay cool, Mr. Edgeworth. You're no good when you're all flustered. The detective's right for a change. How did it come to this?
I thought I had it.
Hold it!
Did I press this one, actually? I can't remember.
By dying message, you mean the bloody letters that spell out Gumshoe. I figured that whoever wrote his name must have wanted to frame him. And just the act of choosing... oh, yes, I did.
Hold it!
Did I do this one? Yes. Did I press this one?
Hold it!
It's just a theory. Except, wait. Right. She shouldn't know about the safe, right? Is that it?
Objection!
Aha! I was like halfway there.
Do you wish to continue insisting that Miss Bird was set on stealing something?
Ah, there was a lot of S's.
Why not? It's the truth after all. It was also by your logic that we came to the whole thievery conclusion anyway. That may be, but you must also be aware of the fact that the safe is a secret safe. The existence of which is only privy to prosecutors.
Ah! Ah!
Rather. I find it a little hard to believe that a hidden safe was a part of her cunning plan. But she could have found it by accident while she was turning everything else upside down.
I highly doubt that. I'd say the culprit knew exactly what they were looking for. After all, only the bookshelf and the safe were targeted.
Ah!
Bites into his metal. It's made of chocolate. Ooh, you hear that slap bass? Yeah, even I didn't know about that safe, pal. And that means there's no way Maggie could have known about it either. Then are you proposing that the killer is a prosecutor?
Interesting conclusion. That is definitely looking more and more probable. What's wrong, prosecutor? Do you have a different suspect in mind now? Perhaps one of your remaining 2 Jims?
Curses. Why? What made you?
What's with the angry face all of a sudden?
It's all my fault.
What do you mean?
It's Jim. Well, it's Buddy. He knew about the existence of the secret safes. There's a plane going over me right this second. I'm gonna take a sippy. Sorry. Tracking software really doesn't like playing ball with making sippies.
What did you just say?
We were partners. Like inseparable, conjoined twins. Now that's a tautology. That's why I told him. I filled him in on the secret safes.
Then that means...
Yeah, I know. I had only just told him too. Obviously, it was wrong of me to tell him. I still can't quite believe it, but the thief who broke into your room was probably Jim.
Now he's claiming that the victim was the thief.
And you were simply trying to stop him, weren't you? Weren't you, Miss Maggie Bird? Excuse me? I mean, you are a security guard, right? That's your job. But killing is going a bit too far. Even in your risky profession. What the? You're still accusing Maggie of the murder? Oh, yes and no. I mean, she had stumbled upon Jim, who had probably drawn his gun. I get it. It was self-defense, wasn't it? No, I couldn't. I could never do something like that, not even as a security guard, sir.
Plus, even if he was the thief, he wouldn't have a key to this office.
Which is precisely why he had to steal it, wouldn't you say? It was Jim who stole the master key. Pretty impossible for a supposedly stolen key to be here with us. Unless... Well, unless you retrieved it from Jim after you killed him.
Mr. Portsman, are you honestly accusing your own partner of being a thief?
I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense. Hold on, I just realized something. Oops. You know what I forgot? I left the content labels from last stream on. I didn't even think about it till just then. I don't want to admit it, but it's the only way for everything else to make sense.
Has he no honor?
Now then, I think we're done here. The investigation waits for no man. Would you people be so kind as to see yourselves out? Alright, stop flapping at me. You can't kick us out. This is Mr. Edgeworth's office. But I'm the one who's been assigned to this case. You are all suspects to varying degrees, and therefore ineligible to run this show. Listen, pal. How many times do I have to say this? Maggie can't be the culprit.
Detective Gumshoe, calm yourself.
But, sir,
We have no choice but to accommodate his request. For now.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. At least one of you understands. Now then, if you could remove yourselves from my crime scene, I'd be most grateful.
Mark my words, Mr. Portsman. We will meet again. In 5 minutes.
If that's a formal request from the legendary prosecutor himself, then I suppose so. Now don't disappoint me, you hear? To be continued. Yeah, I'll save my progress. Oh. Excuse me. You know what? This is a really good time to take a break. So I just realized what time it is. And I need to get myself a new drink. Also, to stretch my legs. And maybe a snack. Ugh. I might even make myself some tea. Just to, soothe my voice box. That thing that I use to talk, apparently. I'll be back. Well. I can't make it go any lower than this, weirdly. In session. Oh well, that's fine. I'll be back. I need it. By sheer coincidence, the kettle was already boiled. Anyway, let's get back to this. My mum's been watching Boys Over Flowers again. She re-watches it every other season of the year. March 14th, 4:18 a.m. Prosecutor's building on the 12th floor hallway.
What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective.
Oops, I need my controller.
I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir.
But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
True. So then what now?
No, looks like my life's fallen into yet another gigantic ditch.
Sorry, I thought that was Gumshoe for a second. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mysteries surrounding my door.
Alright. Prosecutor's building, investigation starter. Let's talk to Maggie.
Yes, sir?
Oh. Oh wait, we can present things to him. I forgot I could do that.
Take my badge.
Oops.
Take my badge. Your prosecutor's badge is really tiny compared to my police badge. Oh, but, it's really cool, sir. Much cooler than my badge could ever be. There's no need to suck up to me, detective. Oh.
Excuse me.
I'm just a lowly detective, so I'm not sure what I should do with that other than to arrest it.
That's the dead body.
Is that the only talent you have? Oh, wait.
What do you mean? Ah.
The victim's gun, huh? It's the same model as mine. A tool used to protect lives, yet one that can also take lives away. Those who take a gun in hand wield a great responsibility. I hope you understand that. I don't really use my gun at all, sir. The only time I would use this baby is when I'm fighting a hot duel with a convict to look ultra cool. You were doing so well until that last bit. I had no idea you had one of these things. I mean, I thought I knew everything there was to know about you, Mr. Edgeworth. I feel like I've caught a glimpse of the hidden side of Miles Edgeworth. There's a great deal you don't know about me. At least I hope so.
What? Alright. There's no profile presenting in this game like there was. How many games was the profile presentation bit? Because it was introduced in Justice for All. I think it was in 3 Trials and Tribulations. And then I can't remember if it might have been in 4? And I can't remember any of the other ones, honestly.
I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning the case.
I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream. A dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth.
I can't... I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her. With why?
Why?
Have you ever met the victim before?
Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portsman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir.
That sounds like fun. Just once I'd have loved to play with them.
It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir.
On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in all that well with them. Miss Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started going downhill, so she quit.
Yeah, that was the first case of Justice for All, actually. The one where Phoenix got bunked on the head and lost his memory. And something about bananas. But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night.
You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct?
Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building. I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal just when I've become a security guard.
That's a lot to go through in one lifetime.
I know, and just when I thought I'd finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck.
You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth, you can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. Alright. Look at my badge. Look at my badge. That's a prosecutor's badge, isn't it? It proves that you're really a prosecutor.
Interesting. Despite all appearances, she seems to know more than Gumshoe.
With that badge, even I can be a professional prosecutor. So may I please try that on? Just for a little bit.
I don't think that would be a very good idea, do you?
I guess not.
On second thought, they're actually on the same level.
I'm just a lowly security guard, so I'm not sure what I should do with that other than to guard it.
It's like talking to another Gumshoe.
Okay, it's not that one.
So when did you discover that the master key was missing?
By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 AM, sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 AM. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those 2 times, it wasn't just gone, but stolen, sir.
Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place?
It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room away from the window.
Always, you say?
Except for this time, correct?
Well, I admit it was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I'd used it that I left it out sitting on the ledge.
She used the master key.
Ooh, interesting. You used the master key.
What did you mean by you used the master key?
Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who'd forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Oh! Brother.
What is it?
That's right! I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir.
What? Please, tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly.
Forgetful Mr. Portsman. It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir.
And that's when you loaned the master key to him.
No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir.
I see. And then what happened after that?
Well, he called for me to come close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think.
So in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, Detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door.
And more than that, a ball!
What is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portsman's prized possession, sir.
That was a lot of peas.
I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis.
Yeah, well, I played Wii Sports. What does he think of that?
And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway.
Maybe squash. Squash is fun. But it's been a long time since I played squash. I'll tell you that much.
Is everything all right?
Yes, sir. If you must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 154 pounds.
Congratulations, but I was asking about this hallway and this room.
Oh, everything's okay, sir.
A word of advice. Stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight.
Why are you here? It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth.
To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly, post-haste.
Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. Sorry.
How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again?
He's not important. We won't see him again. No time soon.
What is a basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be just outside next to the building a long time ago? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? I heard it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it himself. All the way up to the 12th floor? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny.
Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office.
Yeah, you can't mistake it because of the basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me. Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 1202 really badly. But since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir.
So why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202?
I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like his birthday's December 2nd.
I was about to make that joke. I was like,
Because it's his birthday, sir.
yep, that's gotta be it. I can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. Why am I even wasting time thinking about this? The door is locked tight. I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them. Aha! So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you brought it from?
Look at this fucking thing. Why are you here?
It's Mr. Portsman's personal basketball hoop. Apparently not, if it was brought in from outside. I can't believe he put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office and yet you still managed to get lost? A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. It's kind of majestic too. Fits in real well with the ambiance of the prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seems dignified just because he works behind one of these.
No, he doesn't.
Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. I love that.
Get wrecked, Payne. Is there anything else? I think that's everything for that door. Yes.
1202. These 4 numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office. Whoops. Hey. Whoops, hey. These number plates slide right out, sir. They have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know. Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of...
Making it near impossible to break in by force.
It's almost majestic, sir. I wish I could be as stately as this door. Only Gumshoe would praise a door as something greater than himself. Being a detective has its own rewards, and a certain virtuous value. I think. If you live up to your full potential, that's a poignant trait that anyone could admire. I see. So you're saying, sir, that me being me is the best thing I could do for everyone? Right. That long pause wasn't exactly reassuring, sir. I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guide, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. White, they think. Whoever this thief is,
They did a good job of not leaving any clues behind.
Fascinating. Oh?
A well-crafted, high-quality sofa for visitors. The stitching is excellent. Talk about a luxury waiting area. These babies are also great for napping, you know? You would sleep even out here, Detective? In a hallway? Whenever I do, I always wind up dreaming about giving testimony up on the stand. But it always ends the same way. Me getting trounced by a lawyer. Isn't that awful? Maybe I should give it a try sometime. To envision myself winning, naturally.
Careful, Edgeworth.
Maybe you'll dream of getting trounced by a certain lawyer. It's... Oh! Oh, I'm silly. Whoa! Isn't this that missing Zero Series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seems to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. So what are these Zero files about, sir? I guess they've got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belonged to the High Prosecutor. They belonged to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. Then that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to that case from 10 years ago are missing. Huh. I wonder why anyone would care so about such an old... I wonder why anyone would care so much about such an old case. Well, I messed that up, but you get it.
That's pretty much everything there. Just a static image, which means we can't really investigate it. Is there anything of this gun that I missed at all? No. But you do have to admit, revolvers are kind of sexy. Now, we have some logic to report. The master key was stolen, and yet someone used the master key. This doesn't make any sense. Which means it makes sense!
Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story.
What? No way, pal. I mean, sir.
You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time.
Well, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I'd totally forgotten all about that. But thanks to you, I remember it now. You're right. It was around that very time I realized the master key was missing.
And?
Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to look up his room, sir.
You pretended?
Yeah. I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir.
So in actuality, you never did relock the door then?
Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. But come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Let's check it out. Yep. Doorknob. It's locked tight. Ooh. Hold on. Just skip all that. Let's deduct. Is this spot somehow connected to anything like this?
Eureka!
Eureka! There is a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is this door locked tight? Huh? You know, you're right. Miss Bird.
Sorry, I had a hiccup.
Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door?
I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't.
Which means... what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door, but how can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... examine these. Well, the master keys are no-go because we don't have it. Prints on the doorknob, also a no-go, I think. Because... wait. Yeah, also a no-go. Prints on the number plate, however, maybe? The prints on the number plates will tell us all we need to know.
Everything? Really? Like what, sir?
Like, well, for example, such as... oh, whoops. I think it was the doorknob, actually. Well, we know for sure that Detective Gumshoe's dinner will only consist of instant noodles. Whoa, that was amazing, sir. How'd you know?
Was that supposed to be a joke to cheer me up, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, that's it. Now, we should get back to doing what we need to do, and that is... the doorknob. Hey, you, pal. Do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay?
Right, I should have realized it.
So, what'd you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, Detective.
Sir, I found only Mr. Portman's and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob.
So, only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should be on this knob as well. Now then, whose prints should also be on this doorknob?
Maggie's.
Take that!
Take that! Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean... yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one.
Miss Bird says she unlocked this door, but her prints were not found on the doorknob.
What have we here?
Oh. What's this? A clue. A letter.
What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir.
Ah, my back!
Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. It's a letter. C for cranberries. It looks like a note from the victim.
Let's see. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy.
Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsman.
Oh? This is also something.
What's this?
What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game?
That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off.
Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk.
The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I better take note of this.
Investigation complete. And we healed.
Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh?
How so, sir? Who is handsome?
In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat. With the real culprit of this case.
You know who the killer is? Well, Mr. Edgeworth.
As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman.
What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me, too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir.
That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it is time to knock on truth's door.
Doesn't that cost an arm and a leg? March 14th, 5:12 a.m. High Prosecutor's Office, room 1202. Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letters, sir. All right, let me take a gander at it. That's it here. Sweet catch. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Ah! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke?
It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case.
You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay. If you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job? I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl.
Haha. Who'd have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. Except for that one we don't talk about. But there always was this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Hypocrite!
Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up.
Well, aren't we full of ourselves? Even though you have yet to prove anything. I need my tea. Well, it's still warm.
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but
there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look,
I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something? I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on, with evidence. Well, I should hope so. Ooh, listen to that. Whoa. There's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit.
Hold it!
Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. And? That's it? That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? You understand that usually in the more modern societies, crimes are usually performed by people who know their victims. Wait, I may have worded that wrong, but I think you get what I mean. Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Besides, how may I ask you propose I unlocked your door and got in here?
Hold it!
Unfortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection?
Always. It's very rare you wanna not raise an objection to something.
You claim to have had no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth?
Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot.
Very well then. I propose that you use this to open my door.
The basketball hoop.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door. With the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on for a sec. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right, you used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key. Iska, stop laughing. This is serious.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. It happens a bit too often for my taste, you know. But the room you had Miss Bird open at that time was not your own, was it?
Huh? What?
You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See? Miss Bird backs up my story. Yet, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted?
Huh? And how do you suppose I did that?
By switching the number plates on our doors, for example.
That's right. They do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you then used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours and not, in fact, mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bird think that it was his room?
It was the hoop. There were signs that it's been moved.
Take that!
Take that. What? The basketball hoop, sir?
It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building.
which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor.
Ah! That's very true, sir. Because there was a basketball hoop sitting there, I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's.
There are signs that the hoop had been moved. To sit it in front of my office, to be sure.
I see.
So that's how you throw suspicion on people.
Thanks for the tip.
But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack.
Is it? Conjecture's rebuttal.
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time.
You don't have a single reason to suspect me. Oh, do we?
So, he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he?
I'm as pure and as innocent as my jacket.
And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty, I'll have you know. I just washed it yesterday.
Please calm down, for I intend to show who was the one truly covered in slime here.
Oh, I don't like slime, Mr. Edgeworth.
Hold it!
Let's press.
And what were you doing in your office?
I was doing my usual training regimen.
Training regimen? Were you going through your law books from start to finish?
Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance.
Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem.
I was doing my usual workout, so. Oh, really, sir? I highly doubt that.
Objection!
That was a lie.
What are you talking about? How was that a lie?
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman.
A note?
It was left under your door. Or did you not notice? And right here it says, "But you're out." You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you? And what were you doing?
Ah!
Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
Objection!
That's just nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me.
Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
No way.
This is proof positive that you had Miss Bird open the door for you.
Pretty sure it's this.
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints.
My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time.
You're right. I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints.
Her prints? What do they have to do with anything?
Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched.
Yeah. Ah!
Further, all of the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me.
and Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me, is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What?
Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already.
And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down well.
Eh?
I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. Oh, really? I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched. Germophobia is not obsessive-compulsive disorder. Please keep that in mind. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like, early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse.
No, that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size.
Ah, but you can't prove that, can you?
Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir.
Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. Oh? What is it this time, Mr. Portsman? If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe? Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Gives me a moment for a sip. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit.
So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
Rebuttal! You came back to this office around 2 a.m. That's true. It was then you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. Yep. But exactly that time I was down in criminal affairs. Let's press a couple statements.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however...
Yes, however, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into this culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me you saw?
It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you?
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So, you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit?
Yep. Right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony.
And it was just as I said, right?
Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you at around that time.
See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve.
Ah! Portsman's alibi may seem perfect at first glance, but I know there's a hole in it somewhere. All I need to do is press him a little and see what comes of it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Hold it!
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m.
Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time.
I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2.
Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2.
Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi.
What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face?
Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir? Please, escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle.
Maggie!
Detective Gumshoe!
Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way There must be a way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic.
Let's see. The intruder I met could not have been Portsman. Then who could it have been? I think this is it. The fact that the files were messed up twice and then rearranged. Like, there's no reason to do the same thing twice in a row. That's just silly. But if it was 2 people, then it makes sense.
Evidence points to the shelves being disturbed once before and once after the murder. But who's to say that the person who did it the second time was the same as the first? Which could mean
that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight.
Here we go. Another handgun, another visitor.
If indeed there were two culprits, then that resolves the contradiction behind our murder weapon. Despite the fact that there are 2 bullets here in this room, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once. Leaving the possibility that the other bullet was fired from the other visitor's gun. Furthermore, if we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back,
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case.
Great! So you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth!
Sir? What are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you mean?
The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief?
But, sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight.
What do you mean, 2?
2 of them. It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office.
Objection!
Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know.
If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This was the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office. Would be my guess.
There should be a comma in there. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do.
But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there.
Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were so simple as that, then all would be solved. However, There was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated.
There was another? Visitor, sir.
Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had This new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize.
The stolen zero file, right, sir?
Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter.
So the shelves getting messed up twice, and the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. What a concept.
Precisely. So, now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Face Killer. Your alibi from the time...
Sorry.
Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
Oh, what now?
What's so funny, pal?
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Whenever I hear the word circumstantial, I always think it to, the song Psychosocial. Weird association, I know. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. Yeah, it would. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Oh? Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Ah! Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir.
But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point.
Oh, don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie, I'll do something if I must.
You know something?
I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth.
If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. Ooh. Getting the jams up in here. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? You should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. Not at 5 a.m., you twit. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left.
So you think we should be out there looking for the thief?
Of course. Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions.
I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
press him a little bit.
Hold it!
Hold it.
Actually, no, I wouldn't.
Why not?
That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Faith's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them.
You mean the 0 files, right?
And that's how we also know the letters themselves were a setup and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves?
Ah!
Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either.
He wouldn't be a very good killer then, would he?
Yes, that must be it. Maybe.
Hold it!
Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby.
Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after.
Oh? You talk as though you know quite a bit about this thief.
It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything, after all.
I hate to repeat myself. I was training in my room.
Hold it!
But according to Mr. Faith's note,
Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up.
Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening?
No, you said that. If you have proof that he left it at a different time, say just before he was murdered,
I don't have any, no.
you see? So I insist again that I was in my office the entire time.
Hold it!
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith?
That's because he said he was tired and was gonna take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits.
And what of the evidence he brought?
They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items. A gun and a pendant.
Oh? Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
He brought for me 2 items, a gun and a pendant that were related to yesterday's case.
Hold it!
Alright, let's hear about these.
A gun and a pendant.
Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim.
Hey! Doesn't that look familiar?
And why were you taking them to criminal affairs?
There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to. But all this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be to your satisfaction.
This is all matching up with what Detective Gumshoe found out.
Right. I believe we have something here. Before that, I wonder, I can't check it, but we can clearly see a little horsey. I'm gonna try it.
Objection!
Oh, that was the wrong place.
It would behoove you to take a good look at this.
I see it, but I fail to see how it has anything to do with me.
Is that so?
You're not at the top of your game today, are you, Mr. Genius Prosecutor?
Can't allow him to set the pace here.
All right. Actually, am I able to... No. Shoot. Let's press this
Hold
thing.
it!
I can't expect you to know, can I?
Nope. But I guess you can expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions.
Oh? Then let's see you deduce.
Jim waited for me to leave, and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking it into your room, of course.
And that's when Miss Bird caught him red-handed, and the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I had laid out earlier.
I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
That should be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? I'm just gonna look at everything again. Ah! Yes, of course. Oops. I missed that, didn't I? You're lying, Morgan.
Objection!
Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail.
Excuse me?
You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me.
What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you.
Well, here's a piece I think you should read. Carefully.
It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces.
Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman.
Hey, I can't.
Whoops.
I can't believe to get tripped up by simple arithmetic.
Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe? You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Who's a good boy?
Well, don't come any closer, I'm warning you.
This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me.
No! Hey, what's this?
He had this on him, sir.
Whoa, an ancient relic from my childhood.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as being the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin.
KG-8.
The KG-8 incident. That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video's evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what is recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over.
There it is. The smoking cassette.
That's blood, isn't it? Yes. And I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No! You've got it all wrong.
No amount of denial can save you. We've but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how the victim's blood found its way onto this video.
Yeah, it's totally suspicious.
Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him?
You know very well there's no way to prove that.
Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints?
Ah!
If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith.
No, impossible. I'm. Ah! incredible. 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202. It's still March 14th. White Day! Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Face, sir.
Very good.
And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir.
The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir.
It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies.
Oh, it was nothing, really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir.
Oh, Maggie.
If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air.
I mean, very, very reasonable thing to do.
I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just a plain unlucky person.
Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say that? Why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses were forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some real vague reasons.
Oh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession.
We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain it was to steal something. Well, this is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh? Well, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Huh? Then Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Oops. Yeah. The 0 series file.
Take that!
The person who stole this file. The other villain of the night. Yeah. I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint?
Who indeed? Mr. Edgeworth, sir?
Yes?
I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir.
This card.
Ooh, pretty.
What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there?
A bird?
It's not just any bird. It is the mark of the raven. A 3-legged raven.
The Black Raven? Is he gonna call me again?
Even you should know what this is, Detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief Yatagarsu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarsu is noble to the end. A modern Robin Hood.
Whoa. Ooh, Mercurial News Special Edition. Special Edition.
Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarsu appears and vanishes at will.
The noble Yatagarasu, vigilante of the business world, reappears. It haunts the embassy.
Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets.
Yatagarasu reappears, corporate dealings exposed.
The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing.
That's smart, actually.
Some days later, the evidence that is found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look! Something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files. So, the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago.
The end. Or in my case, the.
I was standing right in front of the word end.
Sure, I'll save my progress. Aye. Episode 2, Turnabout Airlines.
Oh.
In which case, it's probably a good time for me to stop. Stream. Or end stream at least. How many hours? Oh, it's only been 3 hours. That's actually pretty good.
Because I know some of the more recent open cases have been very long. Looking at you, Great Ace Attorney.
Anyway. Hope you all didn't mind my vocal performance. Oh, my voice is tired.
This is why I usually prefer ones that are pre-voiced.
But in any case, I should see y'all next week for the next episode, I hope! At least there I'll be able to voice a few more ladies. I remember that much. Thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves for the week. And I will see you then. I hope. Good night. Good night, rather.